Do you know, it's a wonderful time, isn't it? It's the first week of spring. For most of us in the UK, the sun is blaring down. It feels wonderful. I've even hung the washing out. But you know, there's a number of tasks I need to get done. Not the least, I've got to sort through all my little Mame Bonsai, because there's loads of roots that have built up under this. I've got to decide whether or not this thing gets repotted, a little Escalonia cutting. This bizarre, weird Airlayer I did a few years ago. Can I do anything at all with it? I'm also going to have a shout out to Adrian, who pointed something out about something I said in my last video. We're going to get to see some of the bonsai garden bonsai in flower or opening up, and perhaps just talk about some of the things I do. But the biggest thing I'm going to do is tell you about the biggest problem I have in the first week of spring in the UK in the bonsai retreat, and it badly affected my Trident Maples 4 years ago. If you want to know what that is and what perhaps you can do about it, well, keep watching. And I've also got a surprise announcement as well for anyone who may be going to Crawley. So let's keep watching, shall we? Should be fun. Hi, it's Xavier, and welcome to my bonsai retreat. And as I said in the intro, we're in the first week of April, spring. For me, I've just come off the solemn or the joyful Easter celebrations in terms of the Easter Mass and stuff like that. And I've stuffed myself with loads of food, chocolate, and feel quite right sick. But now I thought I do need to have a look and see at all my little Mame stroke show hen bonsai. Some of these are a bit big. Show you exactly what I'm going to do, because a few of them, well, oh gosh, I imagine there's a network of roots under there. Now, early spring, I know there's lots of stuff. I'm not going to repot them, but I am going to cut all those roots. I'll have a look and see what they're like. Things like this apple. Again, that's rooted in, but it's only supposed to be a couple of inches tall. So I've got to do something about this great big growth here. We've got the Forsythia. In fact, tell you what, let's hit the flowers first of all. The Forsythia right now are probably the plant that are in their prime. The flowers, many of you will see, are absolutely throwing out great blooms. And in fact, even at the Bonsai Fest, I think I saw a couple of Forsythias that went for sale. Absolutely brilliant for bonsai. You can pick them up easily from garden centres. Definitely a great shrub to have in your bonsai collection. Equally, as you can see, we've also got the last vestiges of our Fuji cherries. And now is definitely the time to be removing all of those dying flowers, because now we want to concentrate these lovely shrubs, stroke trees, on getting that that growth we want from their leaves and stuff like that. But first of all, let's talk about the biggest number one danger or thing that I hate about this first week in spring. And if you look right now beside me, I've got this Trident Maple. Its leaves have come out, they're nice, they look strong, and that's because they've been in the sun. But there's one that's still in the shade, and right now the leaves are absolutely, well, they look like they're dying off, drooping off. And you know, I ask yourself, is that a problem? But you know what? If we have consistent periods of frost or anything over the next week or so, then yes, it would be a problem. And I'd be telling you right now to get those Trident Maples with all those young, delicate leaves into shelter, into a polytunnel. I've even put them indoors overnight sometimes, because I have had the occasion where they were left outside. We had two or three nights of frost, and I lost and killed the tops of a number of my really nice Trident Maples. It's this one here. We've seen it, and it's got the horrible big roots on it. I like those mango roots, as you notice. Bit of a spoiler, bit of a thread graft through there. That's part of this 4-year project. But this whole part here and here actually had a great big apical crown on it. It looked beautiful. Well, the frost literally killed all of the freshly sprouting buds, and I missed it. And indeed, the whole top really did die. And it could have been avoided. Keep an eye on those weather temperatures. Don't get fooled by the sun right now that's come blaring in on the side of my face. So, you know, that's probably a little warning for you. In fact, I've noticed here another thing. I tend to go around all my nursery beds right now. Although it's cold, I've actually missed the repot on a few, and one of them's staring at me right now. It was the nursery bed that I destroyed last year when I tried to pull a few sycamore out. Yeah, your sycamore, if you let it go, is going to go to town. This is firmly in there. The leaves have opened up. I'm not going to try repotting it now, but like I would with any of my bonsai, I can certainly clear up the stubs. So healthy because it's in this growing bed. I can actually do the usual thing that I did last year. Have a look. We've got this great big long internode distance. I've got to think about, I am going to pull this up next year. The tree is probably just this part here. So let's stop it from doing any more damage to that bonsai design which I'm looking at, and just control all this potential growth. What this will encourage is some of these smaller, in fact, let's go right back here. There's lots of little buds in closer, and we're going to try and encourage those to go off. I'm not looking at this going, hey, this is the final bonsai shape, but I do want to make sure that I don't create future problems for when it comes out. So I am definitely looking at anywhere where we could create any sort of inverse swelling. I mean, I like the look of this. This is going to be a nice looking tree, I think. Yeah, we need to cut that right back, I think. Control the growth. In terms of whether I do a cutting on that, for me, in the UK, sycamore are everywhere. They sell seed all over the place. I wouldn't waste my time. Lovely Trident Maple cuttings, they're looking good. Ginkgo cuttings. Dead cuttings, I like dead cuttings. They're always easier to manage. Oh, actually, you notice, little spoiler, right there, you'll see that I've taken Joe's Pyracantha. I said I was going to semi-cascade it. Again, that's another time lapse that if you want to see, you need to be subscribed to make sure you don't miss it. It's down there, and it's looking quite happy. But what I was going to say to you is on the, I think it's the 12th of April. It's the big expo in Crawley. You're going to be down at Crawley for the 7th annual expo. Hopefully, I'll be there. So I'll say again, if you want to chat, goodness knows why, but I'll be there. I'll have my camera. Grab me, poke me, pull me. You know if I'm talking, even make lots of faces, wave, even make funny smiley faces, and I'll try and grab your attention. So hopefully I'll see you at Crawley, and I'm really looking forward to going because I've never been to the Crawley event. But the other thing is you know, you look around your gardens and there's always things hidden that you've forgotten. I've got this this big crab apple. I think I'm probably going to do some air layers on it in May time. I thought it had died, but it's starting to leaf out. Picked this up from Greenwood's on their bargain shelf. I think it's a project that, well, you'll see more of that in May. It's a bit of a tough one actually, but I found this, which looks like a Pyracantha, which I must have dropped the pot in there at some point because it's self-rooted, and probably need to have a look at this. For many of us, we're worried that, you know, we've already started missing our opportunities to repot. You know, certainly the maples, a lot of the leaves are open. But, you know, there's mixed things. There's some of my trees where the leaves haven't opened and I continue to do repots. But things like the Pyracantha, or indeed the Escalonia, which you'll see in a minute, you know, I can still do repot work on. But it's no good leaving stuff rooted like that. It's only going to be a pain. And that'll help me decide what to do with this crab apple. So, tell you what, I'll have a look at that and see if I can get that into a pot. Just get rid of some of those roots on the bottom. There we go. In fact, let's put this to one side, because I remember, actually, I was going to talk to you about all these Mame stuff. So let's have a look at the roots of these first, because that's definitely something I need to get on top of. Now, as you know, this is probably this is 1 year on. It's the first time I've actually used a tray for keeping these things going, and actually, massive difference. All of them are doing well. All of them are thriving. But first of all, we need to prune back, because we need to keep them small. What I do is let a year of growth go on, That allows some good proportional developmental thickening of some of these primary branches or primary trunks. Primary trunk, there's only going to be one of the trunks, and then we cut it right back down, because ultimately we want to get a bigger and bigger, thicker, more realistic tree, but still keep it the size of my thumb. And first of all, I'm just going to go around and take out the ones that have got pretty well no roots on them. This is probably a bit big to be considered Mame. It's good 2 to 3 inches. Nice little Genko there about to open up, so that's okay. We've got this apple. Incredible, you look at the bark on this. Do a little bit of weeding on it underneath. Not much root structure come through, but you can see there that the 2 parts that I want are these 2 here, to continue it out that way. But very gnarly, I love this. So we can already make the decision on that one, and that's to cut it there. So that's it. Do I seal that? Yeah, I will do. Forsythia, that's still in there. Then we've got the buddleia. Oh, in fact, no, this is sage. That's got some roots on that, so we'll leave that for now. Again, we've got another little apple here. Fine network of roots underneath. We'll clear that, and then all I'm going to do is cut those. So I'm going to get rid of the rest. Oh, look at this lovely little Fuji cherry, and I think those flowers are pretty well gone. Unlike the crab apple, which you're probably seeing right now, which I got from Greenwoods, that crab apple, it's got loads of flowers ready to come out. So, I just want to get rid of the ones that are easy. Okay, we've got this hazel. And I hadn't done hazel before, but that's really interesting. Yeah, I like that. Really like that a lot. But you can see from it, it's got loads and loads of buds all the way down here. If I want this to be Mame, I don't want those little ones down there. Remove the lower buds, don't want energy. Remove any lower buds, I don't want energy going that way. But, you know, there's an argument that I still perhaps remove this big branch here, because it's got nothing here, and have this interesting thing growing. And I think, because I'm having fun experimenting right now, that's what I'll do. Just see what happens. Again, I'll just do some cut paste on that cut as well. The micro pot that I got from, I think it was Budget Bonsai. Was it Budget Bonsai? I'm not sure. I can't remember. It kindly sent this over to me and did me a challenge for a tripod challenge. And this is actually an ash. And if you imagine the big compound leaves that ash have, you know, they'd be like this big. So I'm waiting to see if those little buds will come through. But with that fine root structure, no reason why not. I don't know how it's going to be. There's not a lot of soil in there, so part of me is tempted just to keep those roots alive and in the pot, just so I can get some leaves. Little Chinese elm, again, lovely and nice. I love the little ceramic on this. Just a few roots on the bottom. I put some wire. I think the wire was to keep it in place, but I'll probably leave that alone for now. Might just get rid of growth that are in crotches lower down. Let's just shorten this off a little bit. There we go. But yeah, the wire, do I need the wire? Actually, I don't need. I think that wire was to secure it in the pot. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. That's in there nicely. So that's a good sign. And we've got this Chinese elm, which I made into a cascade, and got the pot from Herons last year. But that's looking healthy, and in terms of the wire, certainly not growing enough to scar. Right now I need that to continue to grow on, so I'm not going to do anything with that. Another Fuji cherry. Not a great deal of root growth coming through from the bottom of that. Just weed the top, really, that's all we need to do there. Interesting, we talk about flowering plants. You know, we all love this time of the year. You've seen the crab apples just starting to bloom, but also some of my other dwarf azalea which flower later. You know, I've had one set that have already died off and have had their last day, but right now you can see that I'm going to have these really nice big pink blooms on this dwarf azalea. look absolutely magnificent, I'm sure, in 2 or 3 weeks time. Okay, so that's all cleared out. Got any sort of roots and horrible bits out of there, and this will be good for me to put them back in to continue their development and also to keep them fit and healthy, because while those roots can thrive in there, it keeps them alive. And probably now is a good time to say thank you very much to Adrian. Now, Adrian responded to last week's video, which was all about the big mistakes I made with the large forests. And I always call them big mistakes. I'm not sure they were massively big. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful shape for little sycamores? But yeah, I love that. I might just cut that one lower at some point. And Adrian responded to the fact that I said I'd made a big mistake because I used a metal grid framework for securing down the larch, and I said potentially that could be a problem, it rust off, or it might be difficult to get the trees out or remove them at a later stage. Just need to take the weeds off that in a minute. He said he used the same method himself with I think it's iron grid mesh or whatever, and he did it with his dawn redwood forest, and as you can see, dawn redwoods are fine, and as he said to me, he said came away easily, there wasn't a problem at all, so don't be so hard on myself. So Adrian, thanks very much. And you know, I think sometimes I can be a little bit dramatic, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. And say, Adrian's reassured me that there probably isn't going to be a problem. Look at this Forsythia, all those roots. The good thing about that, it means it's keeping this lovely little probably a bit tall to be called Mame, this lovely little shrub alive. I call it a shrub because it's not really a bonsai right now. Yeah, look at all those lovely flowers. Incredible. Not really sure what it's going to be right now. Actually, while I'm looking at this little Fuji cherry, one of the things I do make sure I do, and it's something we'll often do with our flowering azaleas and stuff like that, once the flowers have had their fun, then you want to make sure you remove them, and also you're trying to remove the future seed pods so that all the energy goes where you want it to, which is now leaf growth. So that's one of the things I'll do, just remove all these flowering until we have what I think is a pretty ugly looking shrub. Always say the Fuji cherry is a bit of an ugly little monster. Once it those leaves will go all horrible and crinkly and crispy brown any bit of sun goes on it. Now, there's a potential shape there, I think, though. You can see that for a little Mame Bonsai. Now, the other downside about this this time in spring is we also get to see which of our cherished little project trees have just died. And I have my suspicions about this Chinese elm. What is it? Probably just about 6 inches tall. And it's one that my granddaughter Zita and I have been working on over the last few years. It was a cutting from one of my Chinese elms, and unfortunately, that's absolutely brown bread. Really disappointed about that. Why? I don't know. I'll have a look in the roots. If I find something that says this is why, I'll tell you. But that's also the disappointment of late winter, early spring. Now I have to find a way to tell Zita, although she's probably forgotten all about it anyway. I've had a look at it, and yes, I think probably compacted roots. It was left in that pot, probably relatively small. Chinese elm, they grow profusely. Really, my recommendation for Chinese elm, unless you've got a big old, an old one, is certainly if they're younger, you should really look to repot every year, at most every second year. But if you see something like that happen, then if you've got more of the same, always a good idea to go and check. And sure enough, I'm glad I did, because here's the second one again that's been growing from a cutting. Much bigger pot. So, and looking at it, if you have a look at the top, the soil is literally absolutely carpeted by that horrible, it's got that horrible binding weed on it or something, but also beneath it, it's that yucky, I can't remember the name of the moss on it, but absolutely disgusting. And I think what's happened is because of that, it's stopped any moisture going through, or it's waterlogged whatever roots there are. So I think this is down to actually the surface cover of some pretty invasive moss, algae, or so. yeah, absolutely dead. So get rid of that. And in terms of the soil, if I'm ever in doubt, I couldn't see anything in the soil, but what I never do is recycle soil from a tree that has died. That will get thrown or distributed around the garden somewhere, but certainly won't ever enter the bonsai cycle again. And just a quick look, here's the little apple, and lovely. This is really working out well, but you can see already there's some obvious problems here. We don't want this one growing from inside the curve. The only reason we would do that is if I decided that I was going to remove all of that top there and regrow from this and this one, or remove this lower one. We're going to remove this one, give it a spin just to be sure. Could I consider having a small branch here coming out, or do I remove it entirely and just shorten this one right down like that, like that, like that? And I think I will actually see how it looks with a little branch coming out here. And this, I think, is going to make an absolutely beautiful mame at some point in the future. The oak is exactly the same, lovely Dawn Isaac ceramic, really like that. Probably too big actually for what I'm trying to achieve here, but I am aware there's quite a big root structure in there that needs to be trimmed down at some point. We've got this. Really all we need to do at the moment is reduce it back. A nice visible bud down here. We've got this big bud here and a big bud here. And for now, probably leave it like that, but I could well consider removing that entire one as well. You know, things like this are really down to your own personal preferences. When this is healthier and I've established what I want here, then I need to do some more wound healing here. And in fact, I've got a bud here which I want, so I'm going to bring this branch down. Oaks will often bud back all over the place. There's a little bud there as well, so I can see this coming down. There we go. So they're all pruned, back in their container, and really happy with how this is working. Definitely the way ahead for looking after your micro bonsai. Only thing about it, fertilization ways, I'll just do a liquid feed, which I'll use a watering can. I don't know why I do this. Everyone knows what a watering can is. But I did promise you there were 3 trees or shrubs that needed to be repotted. I'm going to show you what they look like, and then look, this ain't a repotting video. This is just about odds and sods you can do in the garden in the first week in April. I'll show you how they look when they're finished and either in a pot or just set up for future development. So the first one is this this cutting, which is really it's a good thickness now, a good 1.5 cm trunk thickness. This is, I believe, he says, an Escalonia. So I'm going to pull it out, but it's got lovely trunk movement, lots of branches and growth on there, and I'm going to have a little play with that, and I reckon we can get this into a pot. So I think rather than seeing all the pain of the repot, we'll give it a quick spin, and wow, definitely cut that back a lot. Still got this lovely trunk on it. Not so sure this will make it. It had practically no roots on it. It's gone in the pond basket, nice free draining soil. We'll see how it gets on. Then we've obviously got the Pyracantha. Look, tree this big on a little weenie pot like that. That needs to come out. Could go into a training pond basket. But what we'll do is I'll give it a spin and see exactly what I think we should do with it. And there it is. Right over on an angle. It had really nice roots on it, and cut it back quite heavily, as you can see. See what happens, but definitely it was better off than in the pot it was before. And finally this one, which was a really weird I can't remember, it was Airlayer here or it was subject to an Airlayer itself. Absolutely bizarre. I've got no idea. This would normally be something that I'd just throw away because it really is nothing, but it potentially whacked up that way. Anyway, I'm going to have a little look. In the roots, and who knows, when you come back, there you go. I think this has the potential to be extremely interesting, and There's so much budding on it, close in, out here, that, you know, I'm going to let this just grow completely unchecked for the next, certainly a year, maybe even longer, and then cut it back and see just what we've got. But this could be really, really interesting. And again, it was just an air layer from some part of a hornbeam. And I really, really didn't think it was going to look very good because the angle kept putting me off when I kept looking at the pot every year. There you go, change of angle. Potentially, we are going to have something really quite special. That was a surprise. That's the first week of spring in the bonsai retreat. There's loads of stuff to do, and I haven't even hit fertilizing. If you stay to the end, you're going to see a link to a video that'll tell you actually all about the tasks you should be doing now in spring, which is April, May, whatever. Have a look at it. It's really good. Apart from that, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.